I was like, oh my God, Jennifer, who cares about those TikTok people, right? That's just fueling the algorithm. It's totally fine. And I'm not hurting anybody. It's not like, why should I even care? Now my motivation is I got to do it for the Rudies.
Does media really work for MLOs? Watch this video all the way through with a true mortgage pro who went all in and is crushing it using media. You won't want to miss this valuable interview with Jen Hernandez. Enjoy. Jen, it's so great, such an opportunity to be able to sit and spend some time with you today. I've been super excited about this. I've been waiting for this day, actually. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself so others can kind of get to know you, just briefly, who you are, what you do?
Yeah, sure. No, thanks for the honor. I was happy when you reached out. So I'm a lender since 1995, so I'll save you the math. That's 28 years. Started right out of college by accident, which is I think how most of us get in the business. But really just have developed, I've always been 100% referral, just realtors and past clients. So I've closed, I think about 4,700 loans now, just racking the numbers up as I get older and older. So I just love to help homeowners. I'm not ready to retire yet, but I've got a team right now. My team is there's 5 of us, including me, processor, admin assistant, paper pusher, so we just love to close loans. That's what we do.
Well, that's a good thing. That's what we want to talk about today. Because here's what I'd really love to do today. Now, as you know, I'm the CEO of My Mortgage Trainer, and I have the pleasure of working with about 10 to 15,000 MLOs a year, and helping them get their mortgage license or maintain it. But honestly, my biggest passion for what I do comes from helping other people succeed. And I've been really blessed in my life to be driven. I didn't come from money or anything like that, but I've done very well for myself because of my drive, I think. But also, when I was in the Army, I read this book that just happened to be on a shelf that they called the library back at the barracks. And it was a book called See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar. I don't know if you've
Oh
read that
yeah.
book. Yeah.
I've
And
li- I've listened to it. Yeah, I've
yeah,
listened to his tapes. Yeah.
and that theme, like that theme in that book, and I'm sure you know it because clearly you embody it, but that theme was that I learned was is that you can have anything you want in life if you just help enough others get what they want. And I think that that's what embodies a fantastic MLO like yourself, because from what I can see from following you is that you are continuously and selflessly just giving tips and information to assist others, to get what they want. And of course, then the byproduct of that is that you're being blessed with their support, which is clearly paying off for you and for your clients. And so kind of in that spirit, and since I have many MLOs who I work with in my mortgage scripts media coaching program, I'm interested in asking you a few questions, if you don't mind, just to kind of help some others in return. Um, you know, kind of understand the life-changing things that they could be doing to help others, and in return help themselves by using media as their mode of reaching these people. So,
Yeah,
all right, cool. So I got a couple of questions for you. Are you ready for me to fire them at you?
I'm ready.
Okay, I even prepared them this time. If you're not, and usually I don't. I'm so like on the fly, but so I know you're going to bring some great value. All right, so here's what I got. Okay, my first question for you. So I have of the MLOs I was talking about. I think that I have a lot of people that have what I would call a fear or a phobia of getting in front of the camera, thinking they're probably going to mess up. They're not going to be perfect. So when you first started doing media, what was your biggest, I guess we call it, could say fears if it's plural, or challenges, and how did you overcome those?
So when I first really started doing video, it was in early 2019, and it was just an aha moment. Like I'd been doing video where I had some staple videos where I got a videographer in and I said, "Hey, I need these 10 videos because I need to be able to send them in emails to clients," right? Like, hey, the mortgage process and truth about credit and just some staple evergreen videos, right? So I would do that like every 6 months or so. But then in 2019, it's funny, I sponsored lunch for this investor thing, and it was in this rinky dinky part of town. I really didn't want to go. And I'm like, oh God, do I really want to do this? But I showed up, right? Because of course I said I would do it. Turns out that was the pivotal moment. Okay. So lesson number one, show up even when you don't feel like it. And the guy that was talking, it was right when EXP was taking off, and there was, EXP Realty and their EXP Realtors. So this is a guy from Dallas, and he was talking about, like, hey, I have this YouTube channel, and in 2 years he got to 20,000 subscribers. And I don't know, it just hit me in that moment. I was like, well, I can do that. Like, why can't I do something like that? So I went back to my marketing assistant at the time, which also happened to be my best friend. And I said, okay, Michelle, we're going to start releasing 2 videos a week on YouTube starting next week. And she looked at me and she goes, well, okay then. And I sent a video text to the guy that I saw that day. And I said, Connor, I'm going to pay you $1,500 the next time you're in town to come give me all of the shortcuts. I don't want to watch 1,000 videos to learn how to do this. I want you to show me and tell me. And he's like, I'll be there. We set a date. He came to my office. He was there for about an hour and a half. So lesson there is I was willing to pay for it, because if you're going to get things for free, it's not going to get you very far. And number two, I took the notes. It was 90 minutes. And I said, okay, Connor, you have to, it's like, it's done. You have to stop talking. I'm exploding. Like, I can't, let me implement these things and I'll hire you in another 6 months. He said, okay, but don't pay me 1,500. That's a little too much. Can you pay me 300? I said, deal. So I made friends with him, and he came back in 6 months, and Michelle and I had implemented what he said. And then he, reviewed what we were doing. So my advice would be is connect with someone and be willing to pay for it that can teach you. And because I had the assistant helping me, I can tell you that if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have stayed in it. Like, I had a dedicated person, and she, well, if you met her for 2 minutes, you would understand. She is like high energy, super fun. And there were days and we had a timeline, like every Monday at 1 o'clock, we went down to an extra office that I had. We had a green screen, like we had it all set. We were propping the iPad up on the trash can. Okay.
Nice.
Literally, like, it was hilarious. And we were just doing it. And I only kept doing it consistently because of her. I had someone else holding me accountable, because she would come in my office at 1 o'clock, 12:57, and go, okay, come on, it's time to go. And I go, oh yeah, I just had this hot client, this client call. I'm locking a loan. She'd go, sorry, sister. And she'd come, like, literally pull me out of the chair. And she'd say, hey, I can tell you're like, I wasn't in the zone. She's like, hey, come on, chin up, butt out, sister. Let's go. Come on. And I was like, oh my God. So you need someone more energetic than you that can help pump you up. Like, it literally is that elementary. And so we would go to that little room and we would make my crap. Now I look back, they were crappy videos, but you know what? I was doing it consistently. And that's the number one thing that, now I wish I had known then what I know now, but that's okay. That's my journey, right? So you just have to be committed to the process, knowing that I need to get this done, getting someone else that's going to be in it with you that can hold you accountable. And you have to do it really on a weekly basis, because you have to train the muscle. Like, you can't just go run a marathon. I mean, you have to go 1 mile, then 2, then, it takes time, right?
I try to tell the people that I work with as well that, don't expect to be an overnight success, because first of all, there's nothing sexy about mortgages, right? Nothing.
Yeah.
So, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And so I think sometimes people get a little bit, I don't know. I think they get down on themselves and they think, oh, this isn't going to work or whatever. And obviously, it takes time since you've been doing it since 2019. So, how much would you say media plays a role in your success as an MLO today after you overcame those fears or challenges?
I would say I'm so thankful. Like back then when I started, something triggered in my brain and I didn't know. I said, I don't know where this is going,
Mhm.
but I know that it's the right thing to do. Like I had an instinct, okay? And I just had this calling and I said, I'm going to do it. And listen, there's probably out of 600 videos I have, there's probably 100 that I want to erase. I'm like, it was blurry. There's one where my hair is like, it was I was trying to grow my hair out and it was real flat. And I was like, oh my God, I look like just like horrific. Okay. But I don't erase it. Like that's the thing is that we're all too critical of ourselves. Like it doesn't matter. People aren't thinking that about you. You just have to you have to
Yeah.
release it. Okay. And I still do that to this day. There was one I recorded with a builder a couple months ago, and I was like, oh God, I look like I weigh 500 pounds. And like, it's your head, right? Like, oh my God, I released it. I was like, you know what? Forget it, Jennifer, release it. It was good content, right? So basically, I just kept my head in the game and I had the person with me, and that's what it took to just keep on going and being consistent.
So you started in 2019, but was there ever a point in this media journey that you thought this isn't working? I'm just, even though you had somebody pushing you.
I posted this video about a sales price, and my example is like, okay, for example, a sales price of 300,000, because I mean in Texas you can get something for 300,000. Oh my God, the negative comments, like they called me an old hag, get your head out of the sand. There were a couple profanities, like basically telling me I'm the scum of the earth because I used a price of 300,000. Like we're talking like horrifically rude, okay? And I was like, you know what? I was literally ready to just scrap the whole thing. Because I mean, I don't have millions of followers. I do monetize on YouTube now, which is a whole other conversation. Like it's fun and I do enjoy it. But I was like, you know what? I don't know. And I'm a positive praise kind of a girl. And most loan officers are, they're salespeople, right? But then I just said, you know what? No, they're fueling my algorithm. Like what happened next was the turning pivotal moment that I realized why I need to continue doing this. So literally a week later, like I think this was divine intervention. Okay. I'm all down on TikTok saying, basically F those people. And this guy named Rudy calls me. He says, hi, my name's Rudy. I was referred to by Erica, the realtor in my local market in Houston. And she gave me 5 names and I'm calling and I'm thinking to myself in my head, I'm like, oh God, Erica, come on, girl, 5 names, like really? But I rolled with it and I said, oh, Rudy, how can I help you? Thank you. He says, well, I've done all my research and I've decided that I'm going to use you. I was like blown away. I was like, thank you. Like, Rudy, I'm so honored, but we've never talked before. Like, we've never had a conversation. Do you mind if I ask you, like, what led you to this conclusion? He says, oh, yeah. He says, well, she gave me the 5 names. I researched all of you online. You had the most Google reviews. Like, at the time, I was probably at like 200 ish. You had more reviews than anybody else. And then I saw that you have an Instagram, and then I got to I got to your Facebook, and then I got to your YouTube videos, and I watched a couple of those, and I can tell that you are passionate about helping people. And I'm scared to death about the process, and I feel that I can trust you.
That's
And
awesome.
here I am. And my aha moment at that moment was, I'm doing it for the Rudies. Like he's just our average client and we're working our butts off for these referrals. And if people can't consume something that you're putting out there, they're going to make the conclusion, number one, that you're nobody. Number two, like we're working, even people that are referred to you, okay? Even if you're the only one that they're referring, they're checking you out. So if there's nothing that they can see that you're doing, a blog page, videos, reviews on Google, like if it, depending on what you have, I have all of those things and it took
Right.
time, but like I was like, oh my God, Jennifer, who cares about those TikTok people, right? That's just fueling the algorithm. It's totally fine. And I'm not hurting anybody. It's not like, why should I even care? So now my motivation is I got to do it for the Rudies because there's Rudies out there that are getting referred to me. And the longer form video on YouTube, I will tell you, I know everyone's doing a TikTok and a little 30-second snippet. People are not going to really know you
Mhm.
and know that they can trust you in a 30-second TikTok. They're
Nope.
not. So I was so grateful in that moment that really by accident, I got jazzed that day that Connor was talking, and it's just whatever he said resonated with me, and that I trusted my instinct to implement. Like actually, when I think about it, I'm just shocked myself. Like, and Connor's a great guy, but it's not like he's Ed Milet. Okay. So, but for some reason, I just said, you know what? I need to run with this thing. And if you haven't started video, you need to think about the Rudy story. And
Mm.
I want you to think about when people are referred to you, when they Google you, what comes up? Is it just one rinky dinky website? I mean,
Right.
that's
And
nothing.
Google owns YouTube, so you know what's going on right now with that. Now instead
Oh,
of
well,
just
and
getting
yeah,
content, you're getting video content in the search.
well, and now in hindsight, I mean, I really do the videos for my realtors and the people that are referred to me. That's really why I started to do it. But as a byproduct, now my universe has expanded to where I'm helping people nationally. I'm going to have an online course and a couple other things just for home buyers, but I'm getting 4 to 5 referrals a week from my YouTube channel, and I monetize on YouTube, so that's fun too.
Right.
But the point is I have a bigger purpose, and that's developed. So I think what I would say to you is you don't have to have your exact plan. Your route, your journey is going to change and you'll mold it as you go. But just posting one a week, and I mean a longer form video. I'm not talking TikTok. I'm talking you need to start a YouTube channel. Well, definitely go to my YouTube channel, Loan with Jen, LOANWITHJEN. I definitely don't have it all figured out. I don't have a gazillion subscribers, but I can tell you that I'm getting 4 to 5 leads a week from YouTube, which is probably more than the people that are watching this. That's really supporting my local community and getting a few leads a week that are going to turn into deals. Like, that's cool. And making some extra money off YouTube, like that's
Yeah.
totally worth it for me.
And
Totally worth it.
And I would encourage anybody who ends up watching this video to subscribe to Jen's channel, because one of the things you're going to get is you're going to see the amount of content that she's putting out. She has a heavy dose of short form content, but a really good mix of long form content too. And that long form content that she's mentioning right here, right now, this is what I've been trying to tell my team. Long form content's forever. Short form is short lived. You got 8, 10 hours on a short shelf. You're probably dead from there. Long form content,
Mm-hmm.
if you're answering questions, solving problems, providing tips and helpful ideas and strategies, that's forever. And I know you just like I have as well, Jen. I've seen some of my videos that kind of slow growth, but once it crosses over and YouTube picks that up, they love that sucker, and that thing hockey sticks up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing from there. So let me ask you this: when it comes to content ideas, right? Especially with the amount of videos that you have, which I think you've got about 600 plus videos in there. But when it comes to content ideas, I think a lot of people overthink their content strategy, and I think it ends up paralyzing them, and then they end up doing nothing. So, what advice can you give to get past this and just move forward?
Yeah, I would say, and this has come from the what I know now that I wish I knew then, that I used to delegate all of it because I was just, in 2021 was so busy. And then like actually a year ago, I said, you know what? I got to understand how all this stuff works. So I scrapped it all and I dug in. Um, and I started following a guy named Sean Cannell, and he's with Think Media, and he's amazing. So put that link somewhere. I started listening. So I binge his podcast whenever I can, when I'm on the treadmill and in the car. And I started implementing little things to get better. I started getting better at research. Like I literally used to have a title. I used to just have a topic, and I literally used to have 4 bullet points on a piece of paper, and my assistant was holding it like this, and I was just talking ad lib, which is okay, but as you start to grow, it's like you can't do that. So you have to have a couple hours a week, maybe more, that you're researching. I just keep a folder. I have a Remarkable tablet, and I have a folder in there that says videos. Every time I have an idea, I go put it there. And so when you're videoing, I do batch recording. So I like to video in a 1 hour slot. I'll video 3 or 4 videos, that are 7 minutes maybe. Sometimes I do longer, it depends on the topic. But what I'm saying is you've got to record more content so that you can get it to your editor. I do not edit. The best advice I could give you is stay in your lane, get an editor, upload it on the Google Drive, and have them do it. That is not your highest and best use.
No, it's definitely not.
Oh my God.
My
Oh
team
my
does
God.
all the editing for our MLOs that are in the program because it
Yeah.
would take you could spend a week
Oh
trying
my
to edit
God.
one video.
No. Yeah. So I would do that, and I would say what I've gotten better at. I worked on the lighting. This when you watch Sean Cannell, you'll understand. Like I worked on the lighting, I worked on the sound, and on the topics, I just keep a list of topics, but I'm always also going to what's relevant. Like what's relevant right now in this, what are the questions that I hear from borrowers? It's easier than you think. You just need to dump your ideas in one place. And then when I sit down and have my 2 hours of research, I take the title, I scrub it through TubeBuddy. I go to I go to YouTube, and at the top bar, I just start typing a couple of words because you have to decide what you're going to title your video before you make it. And then
Yeah.
that's it. I make the video and I upload it to the editor, and I keep studying and hanging around people that are where I want to be. I like 6-month snippets where like just give me a checklist, let me implement those things, and then I'll pay you for another rehash. Like I work best that way. Some
Right.
people might want to do it differently, but it really is worth it. And in hindsight, I'm just so glad I did. I just jumped in, had no idea where I was going, but I was committed that was okay.
Looking back, I'm sure you're like, I'm so glad I just flicked that self-doubt sucker off my shoulder that time.
Yeah.
Kept going. Those crappy
Crappy
people
hair and
on
all.
TikTok. And, oh yeah, and the crap here. So if you don't mind me asking, I know I already know, but you don't have to answer this question. But 2020, 2021, I know were monster years for you. You don't have to say anything about the monsters. But and a lot of people had some fairly good years there, but those were anomalies really in our industry. And I think what happened because of 2020 and 2021, many people MLO wise were able to just pick up the phone and be an LO versus an MLO. And the difference I like to tell people is an LO is a lazy order taker and an MLO is a mortgage loan originator. And when we got into 2022 and things changed, people had to go, they had to try to transition themselves back into being an MLO. And a lot of people really struggled with that, right? And so, my question is with 2022 and 2023 being pretty challenging years overall for the mortgage industry, would you mind sharing, and you don't have to, what your overall production was in 2022 and 2023?
Yeah. So in 21, I did 110 million,
I
which
saw
was
that.
about 340 units. And then in 2022, I did 180 units, which was about 50 something million. And then 2023 was lower than that. I helped 130 families. It's definitely respectable, but
It's more than
yeah,
respectable, Jen. You are being
yeah,
way too too light about that. Um,
yeah.
But so listen, Jen, I know you got to run. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to hang out with me and share your story. You are truly a blessing, girl. And I have
Thank you.
mentioned to you before that I wish that others could just understand what it looks like to go all in. And I think that you are one of the finest examples of what giving looks like when it comes to media. So I'm honored to get to sit down with you today, and I wish you nothing but continued success for you, your
Thank
family,
you.
your clients. Keep up the great
Thank you.
work, sister, and keep
Thank
sharing your
you. I
knowledge.
appreciate it.
You know,
Thank
if there's
you.
anything I can do for you, you reach out to me too. Okay.
I'll do it. Yeah. Thanks a bunch, Sharon. I
All
appreciate
right.
it.
Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day.
You too.
See you, Jen.
Bye.